But this is the best madness in the country. We're looking forward to making you proud, very, very proud. We're going to put a product out here that you can be very, very excited to watch, to cheer for. And I tell you what, I've always said a crowd, a nation behind you can always make a good team great. We have a beautiful new arena. We're looking forward to having you guys out here. Let's have a lot of noise tonight, a lot of fun, and we're going to take this atmosphere and this energy, and we're going to carry it all year long, and we're going to go and win championships.
Two returners coming back from last year's team, and we went out this year and we didn't want to necessarily get the best players. We wanted to get the right players, kids who would come in, buy into the system, and I thought we hit a home run with what the kids we brought in. As I mentioned before, we had a couple of kids who got injured, but I really love their energy, their spirit. They've done everything that we've asked them to do so far, so it's been a joy to coach them, and we're looking forward to what they can do in the future.
Obviously in the SEC, it's been known for some great post players, but you brought a great post player with you as well. Can you tell everybody about little Miss Strack and the impact she's going to make on this program?
Man, Clara Strack is, she's a baby. She's supposed to be a freshman this year, reclassified up when she was young, and came on for us last year in a major way. Her versatility was detrimental. It was what we needed. And, obviously Elizabeth Kitley got hurt last year, and she stepped in didn't blink, averaged 18 and 10 in the tournament, and she's taken that confidence, and she's had a phenomenal fall. And so people are going to really love watching her play.
Kenny, one thing that's always impressed me about you as a head coach is your ability to develop individual talent. You invest that time. Is that just you, and is that kind of the sauce that you got, and is that what we should expect here in Lexington?
That's why I coach. There's a lot of other things that I have to do. I have to go out and kiss babies, shake some hands, with the donors and do things like that. But I would much rather be in the gym with the girls. That's where you develop relationships. That's where you have the most impact on their lives, not just their basketball careers. And as a head coach, I won't sacrifice that. I have wonderful assistants, but I want to be in the gym sweating with them and watching them develop and grow. And I've had kids who have come in. Georgia Amore came in, no one knew who she was. She became an All-American. Elizabeth Kitley, no one knew who she was. She became an All-American. And so we have some kids now that we feel like can do the same thing.
Tiani Key is a name that also you got out of the transfer portal that maybe people don't know about, but I know I've heard you speak a lot about her potential.
And enjoying herself, and I think she's going to be big for us this year.
Kenny, we talk about the player development, but the other thing that always impresses me is the family atmosphere. A lot of coaches talk about it, but this program is embodying it already. Can you just speak to the why there?
My coach, Lefty Driesell, the late Lefty Driesell, he taught me that you can incorporate family into your basketball program. A lot of people, put it away. They think it's distractions. Some people say they can hurt your culture. Absolutely wrong. It enhances it. It helps it. It's why we wanted Virginia Tech. It's why we wanted James Madison. It's why we went to a Final Four. It's family. I have my daughters here with me. Clara Strack is the best friends with my daughter. Georgia Amore has played with all three of my daughters. And, so it's just family atmosphere. So we don't just talk it. We live it. We believe it. And that's why we've been successful. And it will be, our recipe as long as I am coaching.
Well, Kenny, the family atmosphere, from what I heard is your daughters said they didn't want any secondhand embarrassment by what you were wearing tonight. I got to say, they've got to be proud of how Dad looks tonight.
You know what? They had a big hand in it. Big hand in it, and they tell me what to wear, and I'll go out and I'll wear it. But at this stage of my life, being 55 years old, my whole purpose in life is to embarrass my daughters when I get a chance. So I take pride in that.
Well, I said this when Kentucky made this hire, Kenny, but the SEC got a whole heck of a lot better with Kenny Brooks coming to town.
Well, I appreciate that. There's so many great coaches here. I'm just glad to be a part of it. Going to do our part to continue the tradition of our conference.
Kenny Brooks is an outstanding basketball coach. We were in that gym the last 2 days at the Kraft Center. An excellent teacher of the game, kind of has a fatherly figure about him. He made a great point today to his young ladies. He said, energy alone is worth 8 points a game, and I know his team is going to play extremely hard. They've had a couple of key injuries already, which could obviously affect their depth. But Kenny Brooks is a big-time hire. You get a coach that's been to the Final Four, and he understands the assignment here as well, just like Mark Pope does on the men's side. He is in a basketball-starved state, and Kenny Brooks is ready for all the pressure that comes with it. And what better way, Christy, to start as a head coach than to have Kenny Brooks and an All-American point guard who knows everything that he wants done. Georgia Amoore is as good as there is in the country.
She is one of the best point guards in the country, and Kenny Brooks it wasn't coach speak when he said she is a mini-me. If you watch them in practice, if you watch them in games, she's truly the extension of her head coach. And this young lady, they say 5'6". I think they're being generous.
A little generous.
But this young lady creates space so well, can get her shot off, and she sees the floor so well. And look out, SEC, because from what I've seen so far, she's added some to her arsenal.
A really cool moment here with this light-up court, the shooting drill that's going on in this competition. The score to beat right now is 26. You shoot at the spot that's lit up, and then you got to move and relocate. I just want to mention the two players that you referenced, Jimmy. Dominika Perova, who went to an Elite Eight with Oregon State with a torn ACL international play over the summer, and Jordan Obi, who transferred in from Penn. She's out till January, but those are two key players that Kenny Brooks thought he was going to have coming into this season that they'll be without, at least at the very beginning. What a cool drill here, by the way. We'll see a lot of this court tonight and how it can be used in various ways. And you can see that the players themselves this is brand new to them. No one's ever been unless you're at the NBA All-Star Skills Competition, you haven't had a chance to do this.
I feel fairly certain that no collegiate player has ever had this kind of experience. And even last night, as the girls were going through it, they were just, you're looking down instead of looking for a ball or looking at the rim. So it takes some getting used to say the least.
It's a little bit like Twister, right foot red.
That was our closest midcourt shot that we've had so far out of Amelia Hassett, who transferred in from Eastern Florida State, where she was a junior college All-American. 27 is now the score to beat.
Tom, I think is interesting, Christy was talking about how Kenny Brooks is a great skill developer as a head coach. And going back to Georgia Amoore, he
either signed or committed. Cassidy Rowe will get us started in the three-point shooting contest. What a fantastic story that Kenny and Cassie both share for the Virgin, Kentucky native who didn't want to leave. And when he came in to conduct interviews with what could be exiting players, he said she cried Kentucky blue tears, saying, I want to stay. This is a part of who I am.
And Cassidy told us more about that last night. She said, you know, you get a new coach, you're not really sure what this meeting's going to be about. She said, so I was so anxious. I wasn't sure if he was going to tell me to hit the road, or if I had a chance here, if I wasn't ever going to play here. She said, so it was just all this anxiety that just bubbled over into these tears. And you see how Kenny responded to that. Again, it goes back to that family atmosphere, the fatherly effect he has on these young people.
Tom, that young lady shooting the ball, she's from Virgie, Kentucky, which is in the eastern part of the state, which they live and die for Kentucky basketball on the men's and the women's side. And she actually committed to Kentucky prior to her 9th grade year. And just like Mark Pope is going to instill the value of wearing a Kentucky jersey into his players, she already gets it now. That Kentucky blue it runs through her veins, and as a first-year head coach, what a great value to have a kid that understands the importance of Kentucky basketball in this state.
Played for her dad, Lonnie, at Shelby Valley High School. By the way, as you watch this three-point shooting contest, of note, the green circles on either wing are each worth 5 points apiece. That's a good, I don't know, Jimmy, what do you got, like a 30-foot shot from out there?
Yeah, it's Steph Curry range.
I thought that was Jimmy Dykes range.
Yeah. Are we talking makes or takes?
23 the score to beat after Cassidy's first round. Amelia Hassett was from Albury, Australia, transferred in from Eastern Florida State College, where she was a junior college All-American. 14, I mean, great all-around stats. 14 points, 10 boards, couple of assists, couple of blocks, and 1.5 steals per game playing at Eastern Florida State.
She's a young lady who actually made an official visit to Virginia Tech last February. So she didn't sign with Virginia Tech, but she had burbled to the coaching staff there. So when Kenny Brooks left to come to Lexington, she said, hey, coach, I'm going with you. And she's a big pickup for this roster. Can shoot the three, can also give them some length around the perimeter. And especially with the two injuries that you've already mentioned, a lot more are going to be assigned to Amelia Hassett this season.
And she is red hot to start this thing off. Only a couple of misses from the first two racks, and another money ball, now a 5-pointer. And she'll have one more of those remaining. She's trying to beat the 23 put up by Cassidy Rowe first time.
Tom, I don't think there's a skill that we'll see tonight that equates to what a player is going to be able to do in a game than shooting all by yourself in front of 23,000 in Rupp Arena. If you can knock down shots with this much pressure on you, man, you feel good about him as a coach and you stick him in the game. And this young lady can really shoot it.
That's it.
Oh, sorry, Tom. That's what Kenny Brooks was saying yesterday. He said there's not going to be an individual in Rupp Arena more nervous than I am when my ladies hit the floor because I haven't played in front of 25,000 people. I'm not sure they have. He was really eager to see how they responded.
It took them 24 minutes to sell out this event. And since we've come on the air, more and more of these seats have been filled up. What a round by Amelia Hassett. Yeah, I love that point that Kenny made with us that you just mentioned. Like that's the fatherly concern, making sure that they're able to perform. I said, Coach, we've been doing this for a few years. They will surprise you. They're chameleons, and when they walk in and they see this, there'll be some people that show dance moves that you've never seen that just rise to the occasion in front of this huge crowd.
Regardless of who wins this contest or that contest, the number one thing is that this is a night that none of these young people will ever forget.
Hassett turned in 21, so leader in the clubhouse is Cassidy Rowe, and now Deja Lawrence, who transferred in from Charlotte. She was first team all AAC with Charlotte. She had a game against Southern Illinois, guys, where she had 32 of her team's 52 points.
There's hot and then there's Deja Lawrence.
Yes.
I asked one of the assistant coaches today, I said, hey, is she your X factor? She said, no, she better be filling it up every night for us or we're going to be in trouble. So that's the expectation. That's why they brought her in, because they know she's an instant bucket.
Well, it looks like for watching practice, she's going to get the starting nod at that 2 guard. And she averaged 18 points a game last year in a good American Athletic Conference. Was first team all league, but I'm impressed with the size that Kenny has to work with. He's got several 6'4", 6'5", 6'7" off the bench. Defensively, they're not a gambling style. They try to keep the ball on the side. He's going to funnel the basketball to his size and make it tough to get shots off around the rim. But the depth concern for me, Christy, when it comes to SEC play, how does that factor in for the Kentucky women's overall picture in that league?
Yeah, looking at who we think their starting 5 is today, I looked out on the floor and I'm like, that team right there is probably top 5 to 6 in the SEC.
Okay.
The big question mark now is what can the bench give them if Georgia Amore were to get into foul trouble or Clara Strack were to get in foul trouble. There's a lot of inexperience that Kenny Brooks and his staff are going to have to rely on.
So here's Georgia Amore. She's from Australia, transferred from Virginia Tech. The numbers that she put up last year were just ungodly. She was a part of the team that won the ACC tournament and went to a Final Four, set a school record for assists, 2nd in Hokie history in threes, 3rd in Virginia Tech history in points. 5'6" guard from Ballarat, Victoria, Australia.
I think the most impressive thing to me about Georgia Amore is that as a 5'6" guard, she shot 42% from the field. And yes, some of those were layups, but a lot of those were the pull-up jumpers from the mid-range because she can also knock it down from 3. But she's on everyone's scouting report every night, and she's still very efficient with the ball in her hands as well.
Yeah, she's such a smart player on both ends of the floor. I was blown away by such a high IQ she played with defensively today. But she's played a ton of international ball with that Australian national team. Her family actually in Australia, they're big into horses. So, of course, she's going to end up her career in Lexington, Kentucky in the Bluegrass State, right?
It just makes perfect sense. Keeneland going on with its fall meet this weekend. By the way, this is the last shooter of the first round. Then we'll have finals. Forgot about the 5-pointer. And Hassett is leading the way with her 21. I had the numbers mixed up with Cassidy Rowe, who had 10 in the first round. So Amelia Hassett will be one of our finalists. And Deja Lawrence should be our other finalist. You know, guys, one of the things that Kenny mentioned to us about his team, and I feel like this is direct contrast to some of the Kentucky women's teams we've seen in years past. He said, I have a team of introverts. And that's both good and bad. And some of that is good because, you know, on a Friday night, they're going to be sitting in the dorm watching movies instead of creating any issues. But on the basketball court, I want competitors. I want people who communicate. I want people who are loud. And that's one thing he's trying to coach into them at this point in the season.
Well, Kenny Brooks has swagger. The man walks in the gym and you know it. And that's what he's wanting from his team. And even today in practice, I thought it was a little bit better. Now, he is also having to teach them that skill a little bit. But there are some players you can tell that have a little bit in them, but they're all new. Those players are new, and so it's, for women, you always kind of feel the room out, and I think that's what this team's going through right now.
If there was any question about his swag, all you have to do is go back and watch his entrance tonight when he came in from the bowels of Rupp Arena. He came out like a heavyweight champion getting ready to enter the ring.
Or Morgan Wallen with a group walking behind him, right?
Yeah, one of the two.
You know, it's interesting. He did a great job in the portal of recruiting kids that they are serious about basketball. And sometimes those kind of kids in practice, they can be a little tough on themselves. So he's encouraging them, man, show me some personality, use your voice. He's asking a lot of questions. It's just a growth process for this team when you bring that many individuals together for the first time. But the practice, the talent level in that Kraft Center today was at a really high level, and he knows what he's in for in the SEC. It's the strongest conference in women's college basketball, led by South Carolina, and Kenny Brooks has visions of taking them down.
A 12-point round for Amelia Hassett, down from her first round of 21. And now Deja will have a chance to knock her off and take home the trophy. Deja Lawrence from Greenville, North Carolina, out of Mallard Creek High School before staying in state to play for Charlotte. 4 seasons with Charlotte before coming to the Bluegrass.
And I think an advantage for Deja Lawrence is that she's 23 years old. So this is not a young lady. She's got a lot of basketball experience. Yeah. She's got a lot of life experience too. And so I think you combine that with a Georgia Amoore in terms of that experience. They're going to have to rely on that veteran leadership from these two really early in this season.
Chrissy, a team that went 4-12 in the league last year, and Jimmy mentioned it. We know who the contenders are each and every year, whether it be South Carolina or LSU and all the way down the line. Where does Kentucky, this group of Kentucky players and this team, slide in the preseason prognostications right now?
You know, before the injury to Pomerova and Obi, I had a much higher in my expectations. Those are 2 huge losses for this program. And so I had them a little bit further down. I had them picked around 7 or 8 right now in my poll. Again, but I'll say this. I think, as Jimmy has said, that top 4 in the women's side is pretty solid. For me, 5 through 12 is anybody's game any night.
That's a 5-pointer, and now to finish up from the corner. And the veteran Deja Lawrence is going to finish with a couple of misses, but what a fantastic round from Deja Lawrence. Implored the crowd get on its feet and get loud at the beginning of this thing. Well, that's a 23-point round to tie what has set a high for any round in the 3-point contest. What do you like about her as a shooter, Jimmy?
I like where she brings the ball every single time. It's no variance in where she starts the shot. And she really pops that wrist. Everything's on the right side. She's not a left or right shooter. Shoots the same way every time. And you can tell why she's an 18-point scorer prior to coming to Kentucky.
23 points in the championship round for Deja Lawrence.
I love you, Beyonce. Hey, Grandma! How are you, Grandma?
So some love for Grandma before she takes the trophy with her.
Kentucky's finest and an inspiration to all of us. You're killing it, girl. You're killing it. Killing it. Thank you guys so much. The men are up next. I know you guys are going to be loud for them. We're a big family. We're a big family here, and you guys are going to make us great. Come on out and see us November the 4th, first home game at historic Memorial Coliseum. If you have not seen it, it is beautiful. And we need you guys to fill it up. Fill it up. Come out and see us. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Go Cats.
Well, Kenny Brooks mentioned it's all in the family, and they got a brand new house to call home going forward with the redux of Memorial Gym. It is fantastic. We all got a chance to get a look at it. From 1 trophy to 25 trophies, when we return, the Kentucky cheer team will be on the floor. 24-time national champions as Big Blue Madness rolls on from Rutland.